comparison, we have to learn how to use Yahweh because he's the yardstick
The
that
measuring
we'll
line.
measure by.
Okay. Yep.
So us comparing ourselves to one another is like it's still a missing of the mark.
Yeah. I was also thinking this week about how they say in his presence is fullness of joy, but
Hmm.
it's also fullness of judgment. It's always like being in his presence, you got to be very careful too. So it's
Right.
like, mm,
Exactly.
but I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. You're good. There's that. Let me see that. What word is that? Word? Oh, here it is.
What word?
Ah, I was already in the L's. Cool.
Nah.
Uh-oh. Right by. Let's see. Worst. Okay.
I got a question. How often do y'all open the book of the law?
That one.
I guess the scriptures will be the same thing, but
That one.
yeah, like, do you
I
have a
don't know
copy
what.
of the 613?
I don't know what in the world happened to mine. It's it's in here someplace because I pulled it out and I started reading it and then I set it down I forgot about. I think I see it. I think I see it. This it right here. Uh, Maybe that's not it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's on Google too. On 613 laws of Yahweh. It's called the 613 commandments, I think. And it's a certain one I like to choose because the other one is it's kind of different the way it's written. You know, I like the way this is written out though. You know.
Wait a minute. Is this thing over here? I have it. I just don't recall where it is at the moment.
I have a copy. I just texted to you, Tony.
Is it too?
That's the one I use.
Okay. OneDrive. I don't know. It's something about OneDrive that I can't really get into. I think I gotta sign in with an account. I think that's what it is. You know,
All right, what is this? Where is that thing?
Microsoft sign in.
Let's read something.
So I might have to just make an account then with that.
Well, I just took it. Yeah, that's because that's how I send all my stuff is through that.
Okay.
But that's a copy of what it looks like right there.
Okay. All right.
It says forgot password. I ain't got no password. I'll create one.
Huh. Where did it go?
Okay. Who's that? Paul Wilbur?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay, do I need this over? Probably. That high. Good grief.
Holy is alive. Pasco.
Did Donnie say anything?
Okay.
So to answer your question about the law, how often do I look at it? Whatsoever, not often at all. I mean, just being you guys looking at it. I read the scriptures every day. I mean,
Right.
so I don't necessarily specifically look at a lot of those things. Don't apply to me or my life or anything of that nature. So I don't I have it. I mean, if I'm talking to a Jew or something like that, I know them. But as far as reading them or researching them or anything of that nature, I mean, all I need to know about them. So I read them in the scriptures because I read every day. So when I'm in studying, because I read the Parsha, you know, I read the Parsha every day. So because I read the Torah portion, I'm always back through the law, and I might go back to it, but I don't necessarily study the Parsha. I'm studying whatever notes I took from Shabbat, or whatever the topic is. Like right now, we're going through walking through the footsteps of the Messiah. So I'm sort of kind of looking at those types of things and my personal studies. I got all my things I'm doing language-wise. I'm looking at hermeneutics right now, a lot of hermeneutics right now, and also related to Yahshua's 3 days and 3 nights. So, you know, just re-going through his resurrection. Just looking at my emphatic diaglot, looking at the Greek word epiphosko, you know, just the breaking of dawn bow versus dawn, and just day and so forth. So I guess you could say if there's a way to study by Yahweh's Holy Spirit, and there's a way to study by knowledge. You know, and I for me, everybody's at different stages. When I was younger, I did those types of things. You know, I would look at certain laws and read the laws, stuff like that. That was probably necessary for me being young. But now I move by Yahweh's Holy Spirit, and it as necessary to what He wants me to look at. So there are sections of how to go about studying. You know, so I literally study. I study like the kosher animal. what I've noticed is Yahweh sort of has set up my study like the kosher animal, and different portions of the kosher animal. So each part of my study is literally set up like a kosher animal, which I didn't find out till about Passover that he was even setting how I study up like that. So, like I was telling you before, like you can see everything in the scriptures that has to deal with sacrifice, or basically everything you study, you can see the tabernacle in it. So Yahweh is showing me that all of his rules, he has sort of set those things up in the scriptures. So, unlike ever before, I literally am studying 5 things at one time. So I really am never not studying more than I'm literally studying 5 different things at one time. So, but as far as like looking at the law, the law of the law of the widow and stuff, like those are when I was a young man, like specifically looking at those things. But once you build your relationship with Yahweh, and Yahweh wants to take you closer to him, the relationship becomes more than just those types of things. It becomes very intimate, and you get to understand and see Yahweh in the power of his might. He allows you a little bit closer to his throne room, and I don't want to say you earn it, because you don't earn anything. I just beg Yahweh to let me get as closest to him as I possibly can, while I'm a man, that I live a life that I can at least on some small level understand why he said all he said, to us, and why he's given us all he's given us. So, one thing I'm looking at right now is why Yahweh even created us. Like, what was in his mind when he created us? Like, what was his purpose for us? That's been one of my things, figuring out what his thought process was. Let me not say us. Let me say, the Melachim, the Cherubim, the Sopharim, the Shadim, all of these themes, well, he didn't necessarily create the Shadim. The Shadim actually are a product of the fall, but, just his thought process of creation, period. Just trying to get as close as I can to what was in his mind when he was at one point all by himself, when he decided to create, period. Period. So just looking at those whole thing with darkness, Wahoshat, just the mindset of just what is it what's his feelings about darkness? Like, why does he dislike darkness? What is his thought process about darkness? So the Wahoshat, there's no W in Hebrew, Wahoshat, right? You know what I'm saying? But the issue, just the whole mindset of just trying to get as close to me. I'm 40 years old, and I'm really at this point in my life, I'm done playing. I'm tired of playing. I refuse to leave this earth without knowing Yahweh and the power of his might. I am not. Yahweh has placed me in a position where, I've been robbed of my family. I've been robbed of everything. But right now, I feel like even my apartment, I treat my apartment like Moshe's mountaintop. Every time I come home, I treat it like I'm on the mountain by myself. It's just me and Yahweh, nobody around. I got no kids screaming. I got no wife to honor, nothing. So Yahweh, I'm here. Okay, I can hear from you. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Yahweh would call the Nevi'im or his service, he always called them to a mountain or called them separate to a valley. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh, he's big on it being just you and him. And Paul talks about that with marriage. His concern even with marriage was that you got to split your time. Paul understood the importance of that personal time. He said, if you get married, that's fine, but you got to understand that that's going to cut into your mountain time. You know what I'm saying? And Yahweh does not interfere with your marriage. So, meaning in this is to say, you don't have the relationship you can have with Yahweh single that you can marry. It's a different relationship. Yahweh, when he's with you single, he's much more intimate, because he commands, there's a relationship commanded there. But when you're married, he understands you have to share that time. So he lets you have that time, and he doesn't consume you like he does when you're single. You see what I'm saying? There's a consuming there because it's just you and him, and it's fine. But he respects your marriage, so he it's like a homeboy. You don't go out with your homeboys as much when you're married. So I've learned that now, being married in Yahweh and single, there's a different relationship. You know what I'm saying, that he allows you to have whatsoever. So while people cry for marriage, I am now appreciating the consuming fire. Is what I'm saying. How often do you see Yahweh take a prophet and his wife off to the mountaintop?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A prophet and a prophet. It just doesn't happen like that. Yahweh usually deals with you individually. You know what I'm saying? And then in the relation, while both are good relationships, one definitely is more intimate because he respects the union of marriage, and he understands the requirement it is, as Paul says, if you have to give to your wife, you have to share. So anybody that's single, and I always tell you, Satan wants to consume you with loneliness, but Yahweh consumes me with lawfulness. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what that even means. I don't have a lonely. Yes, do I have a lonely moment and missing my kids, or maybe that whole sexual thing? I mean, as a man, yes, that there's a certain feeling that comes with that. But when you allow Yahweh in, you create your routine, you really don't have time for that. You don't have time, because I have come boldly before the throne of Yahweh, and that's why lust and all those things. I'm not a little boy anymore. Lust for me, that's little boy stuff. That old going off in the bathroom, jerking yourself off and looking at, that's little boy stuff. Little boys do that. You know what I'm saying? But when you are a man, you have man thoughts. You have thoughts of a future. You have thoughts of business. You have thoughts of relationship. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing those things, as Paul says, when I was a child, I reasoned to still desire, because if you really desired a woman, desired her, you wouldn't want her like what you think. Because to desire a woman is to desire her mental, her physical, her spiritual, the nurturing. So the part that you lust after is the part that still stays on the little boy stage. Little boys, they get a little pee-pee hard and so forth. That little mindset that we have. And the problem is that we don't really grow out of that. But you only can grow out of that through studying and transformation. That's all. You have to be. I tell people all the time. The word of Yahweh is H-Tami. It's an eternal fire. It is a consuming fire. Once you allow the word of Yahweh not to just be knowledge, you allow, it's a transformation. But you have to be consistent with it. And the consistency is like going to the gym. It's going to burn. It's going to hurt. You're not going to want to do it. But when you see results, you keep going back. So the problem is, when you're dealing with the word of Yahweh, if you're not consistent and you don't see results in your weak areas, you got to see results in your weak areas. Because you don't see results in your weak areas quickly. What happens? We go on that New Year's, I'm going to the gym, we go 2 months or 6 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks or 3 weeks, and we don't see results, so we fall off. So the word of Yahweh, when you're studying it, you have to address it foundationally and in your weak areas. Because if you don't see results, you're not going to do it. And the word of Yahweh is very simple. It's not a difficult thing. Anything that you're dealing with, that you're struggling with as a servant of Yahweh, first thing you got to do is grow the heck up. That's the first thing you got to do. And you got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself and stop playing these verbal games with yourself. Like, as the scripture says, a man may think more of himself than he ought. You got to be honest with who you are and honest where you want to be. Brother Tony said it earlier about not measuring yourself out to any man. It is Yahshua HaMashiach that is our model. and it is obtainable. His service is obtainable if we polish ourselves. But we have to first be honest with ourselves. As Bruce Lee said, that's the most difficult thing.
Most difficult thing.
Honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Being honest with yourself is a difficult thing. And you just really have to have a all-consuming desire to know. That's really what it is. You have to have an all-consuming desire to know. You cannot have you have to want Yahweh and what he has for you more than the things that you want. And that's something that you can't do by yourself. Because idle time, Yahweh likes to get you alone.
Playground.
Yeah, Yahweh likes to get you alone, and Satan, or Shaitan, likes to get you alone. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. He plays on your psyche. The issue is that, do you believe that Yahweh, he is? That's the issue. Do you really believe? That's the real, I'm talking about, stop playing, man. Do you really believe in Yahweh? Do you really believe in Yahweh? I'm not talking about no cliche, oh yeah, because all creation was created, there has to be Elohim. I'm talking about, do you really believe? Have you really had an experience with Yahweh outside of just his word? I'm not talking about you prayed and you got a bill paid. I'm talking about a biblical understanding of who the Elohim of Israel is. Because if you have any shadow of a doubt in your mind that Elohim exists, if you're hiding that someplace in your secret garden, then you're always going to struggle. If you have any questionable doubt about the pronunciation of his name, or whether this really is the Sabbath, or something can change your mind, you're lost already. You're lost already. So at some point, you got to be honest with yourself about what it is you believe. I'm not talking about improving your belief system, but if you doubt, then what makes you think Satan can't get you? Satan don't even doubt the things you doubt. He don't even doubt the things you doubt. He thinks mankind are fools. Understand that he can play so easy. The angels, or the Malachim specifically, the scripture says that they desire to look into the plan of salvation because they understand this system. They don't have pronunciation debate. They don't have Sabbath debate. Satan plays on our misunderstanding of things. Mm-hmm. So the issue is that that's what you really got to ask yourself, Yaakov. Any problem you may have starts first with doubt, not with lust. Because if you see a car coming at you in the middle of the street, and you're going to move out of the way because you have no doubt that car is coming to hit you. So really the core value, the core of all sin is doubt.
Gotcha.
That's what it really is. It really is. Because Kepha didn't walk on the water, or he walked on the water with faith, and then doubt came in when the storm came. So that his storm was lust, then he began to doubt. So really all sin comes with doubt. People say pride. No, it's doubt. Because if you believe Yahweh, despite, then you wouldn't have the problem you had. It really all comes from that core value, that process. So it's not your struggle. It's just that's my thought process of. So I think, in my personal opinion, the relationship I have grown with Yahweh over the years, not because of knowledge, because I sure ain't the smartest person in the world. I ain't the best reader in the world. I don't have all this great understanding of language, but I absolutely don't doubt nothing I believe. You couldn't rob me from it if you put a gun to my head. And I think because Yahweh sees that little thing in me, I can work with this brother. I can work with him. Because while he has his weaknesses, when I tell him something, he believes it. Anybody that know me knows I'm zealous for what I believe. So I'm not moved when I come into a room of priest so and so and so and so and high rabbi and whatever they talking, and I can't. Oh, well, he says that this. When you look at this over here, I'm not a person that can be led by every wind of doctrine, by knowledge or by scholarship or by. So I'm not moved to, well, let me go see what these groups over here say. Let me go see what this person, or, well, oh, brother, you got a point, so let me think. Nothing sways Yahweh. When he plants in me, good or bad, that's what I stand on. As you know, since the day you met me in 2012, have I changed anything I believe about anything that I know from here on out? And you know, me and you have been on radio stations, we done did, and nothing changed me. You know what I'm saying? Because Yahweh has planted a good thing in me. Now, understand this. I'm willing to even say maybe some of the things I believe are wrong, whatever. But I'm even so far to go to say that could be the case. But because I have a non-movable spirit in me, and that's what the spirit of Yahweh would say. So somebody would say, well, brother, if you're like that, then why is it you can't grow like that? I don't want to grow. People understand that, like, I don't want to grow. A tree at some point gets to a certain point where it's done growing. You just got to trim it. I'm done growing. I have to trim it. See, Hebrews chapter 6 talks about that. Talks about the foundation of faith. There's certain things that I don't need to grow no more in the name of Yahshua. Like, that's his name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, there's things I can be trimmed, but growth is a different word. See, growth indicates moving, change. Like, and trimming does, you change too. But I just am very careful with that word growth. Because that the Satan can play on your mind with that. Because when you learn something new that was different than what you remember, Paul told Timothy, remain in the things that you have learned. So think about that, right? Let's say at some point, Paul was telling Timothy Yahweh, and Timothy was still alive. If somebody came with Yahuwah or something different, would Timothy have remained in the things he had learned? See, some would say that, no, brother, this is growth. No, Satan, he looked like a lamb, but he spoke like the devil. See, we're going back to what it was. You got to listen to the devil, even in knowledge. And so I said, no, I am to remain in the things. Well, some people say, well, brother, if you remained in the things you were learned, you was a Christian, and now you this. See how Satan talks. He talks a certain way to make you like, well, that is a good point. Because if I would have remained in the things I learned, I wouldn't be in the truth. That's the devil. That's the devil. He speaks that way. Yeah. He speaks that way. That forked tongue. When Paul made that statement, he's talking about in the truth. We all have room to learn. But how I deal with lust is lack of doubt. That's my
It's 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. That's my contribution to anybody.
And I wanted to say this real quick. You mentioned about you was studying into why Yahweh created us and things. And I wanted to add in too with that was he even knew the name that we will be named from our birth, and with certain definitions on our name, you know, kind of outlines our life if we let it, you know. So it's like, and I don't think James is really that good of a name, you know what I'm saying? But or Jacob, so you know, so name change is obtainable in future.
That's why one of the most important things for me was when I first came to the truth to change my name. I asked Yahweh what he should name me, what my name would be, whatsoever, you know. And of course I told you about the dream I had, whatsoever, that I laying in the bed, whatsoever, and I woke up, whatsoever, and I felt my head was itching. When I went to the mirror, I had this crown on it, whatsoever, and this crown was on my head. I couldn't get the crown off my head, whatsoever. And when I went to the mirror, it said Aleph Lamed in the middle of the crown, whatsoever. So and I saw L, and I saw crown L. And I'm thinking, like, what the heck is crown L? And then my answer came, like, he said, that means Catriel. I didn't know what that name was at that time period, whatever, but I asked Yahweh to give me what he wanted me to be called, what his name was. So I just couldn't get the crown on my head. But I know that the mitre, I'm thinking like the priest, the mitre had Kadosh Yahweh, in my head, Aleph Lamed. I'm like, well, I know that's L, but a crown. I said, in the division, it was a crown in L. Like, I guess I was like 22 at the time period. I'm like, he said, well, but the Qatar L. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that must be what he want me to be named. So, I mean, I was very serious about, I guess as I get older, I look more into what it means to him for me to be his crown, the crown of El. Well, El is my crown because he is my king, whatsoever. He is my king, but I know there's always more to it. And I try to live my life just like that, so, but yeah, he knows our name and, and why he created us and what he created us for and so forth. But, if you're dealing with lust, whatever, for me, it really just has a lot to deal with staying focused, remembering the prize, not becoming weary of well-doing, continual encouragement. And it really starts with you just looking in the mirror every day and telling yourself, I am a man. I am a servant of Yahweh. Nothing in my flesh will control me. It really is just that simple. Satan wants to make it real deep, but it's not. It's really, and I'm talking about in any area of your life. I will make every decision. It's no different than fasting or anything you're doing. Anything that you're doing too much of, you need to stop. You know what I'm saying? Too much study wearies the flesh. You know what I'm saying? So you should be doing too much of anything. So if you are, at some point, you have to come into the mirror and you got to be tired of the old you. That's really what it really boils down to. How long can this Yaakov, can this Catriel Yaakov be in the resurrection? Because Yahweh is very serious about your service. What you say earlier about in his presence is full of judgment. Yahweh's very serious about saving you. So much he'll let you be lost. So don't think because there's not, Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Is it Ecclesiastes chapter 1 or Hosea chapter 1 or Isaiah chapter 1 where it says that when an evil sentence against a work is not done speedily. You know what I'm saying? That it is well with the wicked. That they think they're getting away with something. You're built, huh?
Ecclesiastes 8.
8, and maybe it's 8. Okay, yeah, I knew it was one of. Yeah, I knew it was one of the what is it? The
writings.
Megillah. The one of the small scrolls. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So I it's just really that simple, Yaakov. Like it really is just that simple that every time you go to do anything that's lustful or wrong, you got to realize because there's no judgment happening at that time period, you are setting yourself 10 steps backwards with your service to Yahweh. If you believe in Yahweh, because that's the real question you got to ask yourself. Do you believe in Yahweh? Do you believe he exists? Do you believe he's real? Do you believe what you're practicing is real? Or are you going through the motions?
Not to cut you off, Cartier. Donnie is trying to get in, but he said he tried the dual link, but he can't get through.
Well, send him what needs to be sent.
Send him the link. You know how to do it?
Me? Who? I don't.
Well, I can't. Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah. Sure, you can. I mean, because you. I know.
He went to his email, right? I sent it to his email.
So, yeah. He said he tried the dual link, but it won't let him through.
You gotta go to the email link.
Tell him try it again.
I didn't mean to cut you off, my brother. Go ahead. Go ahead, you Cartier. But go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean that's pretty. I mean, you gotta try somebody to get in. But when you're and I'm just giving you what works for me. You have to be humble. You have to be real about your problem. Actually, you cannot get rid of the demons that you like playing with. You can't. You either like playing with them or you don't want them. That's when you got to come real with. Do you like playing with this? And anything you like playing with, you're not gonna stop. It's just really that simple. You can't be in this thing where it's like okay, I'm married, I got this side chick. I go over, I do this with my side chick, and then once I'm done what I'm doing, I feel guilty.
Right.
Either you like your side chick or you're guilty by it. You can't have both. You can't have both. You can't be guilty and like it. So what it really boils down to, until you stop you can't keep inviting the demons over, having dinner with them, and when you're done dinner with them, get out!
Right.
Like, hey, wait a minute, hey! You invited us over for dinner.
Right.
You invited us over. I don't care. Exactly. I don't care what I say. Get out! You know what I'm saying? No, so stop playing the game. Either you want them there, they confused about what you want. Do you want Yahweh? Do you want us?
That's right.
You can't make a 4-course meal of sin for us when you think you want to get your jollies off, and then when you're done with your jollies, you looking at them. They like, can we have dessert? You like, get out. They like, who's the demon? You know what I'm saying? So you got to stop playing.
That's
you got to stop playing. Either you want them or you don't. And if you still want them, that's the real first problem. Because now your relationship with Yahweh is in question. Because if you want those things, then nothing can stop a human being from doing what he wants to do. When a human being wants to do something, we go through great lengths to go do what we want to do. You know, when Shaul wanted Samuel raised, he went through. He had got all of the mediums kicked out of the land and all this other stuff. He went through great lengths to hide himself to go get what he wants.
It was another king that did. He was about to die, and he went to ask Beelzebub and Eliot Tishbite. Said, "Why didn't you inquire of Yahweh?"
Yeah,
Ahab. That's right.
Yeah. So it really boils down to what it really boils down to. Your problems is because you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop. You have become comfortable with lack of judgment, and you lean on grace more than you want. But you don't understand that you are aging. You are spiritually aging, and you can't see it. Here's what I'm saying. As Paul says that we are the sons of Elohim, but it does not yet appear. You're dying. And eventually, Satan will rob you of your salvation because he will give you the tools you need to kill yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so it just really, you got to stop playing. Either you believe this and you're going to give everything to Yahweh. And as Yahweh told Shlomo, be strong and be manly, or you're just going to play little boy games with your servants. What do you do consistently? What's consistent in your life about Yahweh? What do you do consistent? What do you give him every day? What do you sacrifice to him every day? What do you invest? I've been telling you since the day I met you, invest, man, invest. You know, if every time you tell, I'm getting something to go search by. I told you last week, I'm trying to get my, 1,600, emphatic diet. I'm looking because I'm searching him. I want more because at some point I realized that Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. That's not a cliche verse for me. I have no doubt in my human flesh that Yahweh, he is, and that what I have is the truth, and that Yahweh gave me this life to live, so I don't play games with it. I don't. Not to mention that I want to have a very bright light in Yahweh's kingdom. That Yahweh's kingdom, it functions on service. And priest, that he says that you'll have more crowns on your stars or your crown star. I mean, I want to just have the best relationship I possibly can, and I don't I try not to in any way give in to that. For what? I mean, it's just for what? For gratification, for self gratification. Because if you're looking for gratification in a woman, gratification in a man and finances and education, it's only a short period of time before. So you gotta. There's so much of Yahweh's word that I just don't know. Like I don't have time to spend any other time not knowing. Mm-hmm. It's so much to know. So, I mean, that's just how. I don't know if that's how. I mean, because a lot of times when I talk like this, people be like, "What you talking about? Like, where you get that zeal from?" It ain't a zeal to me. I don't know how you come to this truth and not like this. I mean, look at what we were. Look at what we were. I don't want nothing of Christianity. Mm-hmm. I don't want nothing of Islam. I don't want that word. Yahweh has, at some point, Yahweh says, all have wandered after the beast. The whole world, and Yahweh chose me to come out of that. Right. I take that very, very serious. And I would only like to think, because of when Scripture says that Moshe was the meekest in the land, and that, I would like to think that Yahweh sees something in me to keep going with me, to grow with me. I'm not this way for nothing. I know it's Him, something He placed inside of me. I try to awaken Israel to being real. You know what I'm saying? Just being real, man. Like, let's stop playing these games. Let's be real as much as we can about where we are, what we're going on. That's why I said, throughout the week, I appreciate your questions, what you ask and so forth. But, the problems are deeper than that. And we don't, it's like when you go to the hospital and the doctor say, that your problem is actually your diet. When you say that, I don't think, people don't want to hear I got to change my diet. They want some quick medical fix.
Right.
Because people don't want to go to the root of the problem. You say my toe hurting because I eat too much chocolate? It's like my toe can't use on my toe. Like, they don't understand the chocolate is connected to blood flow, and blood flow is connected to pain.
Right.
And pain. They want pain management, not the lack of not changing your diet. So as human beings, we like to, and Israel, one of the number one spirits talked about in the scriptures is the familiar spirit.
Oof.
Yahweh hates a familiar spirit. He hates it because we're always trying to bring something familiar over to the truth.
Yep.
Something familiar. And Yahweh don't want nothing familiar. You shouldn't look Christian, sound Christian. That's why all that, early on I understood clearly why Yahweh wanted to just get rid of God, Lord. He wants us to look different, act different, whatever, wrap our hair. He's trying to get Israel to do everything different. Everything looks different. You know what I'm saying? Everything. So all of it is about different. Wow. Yahweh, there are many Elohim, but Yahweh is the El of Elohim. See, once the fallen angels, or that's a whole other story. Once the fall happened, these powerful beings, they took on deity-like atmosphere, a deity-like personality, and they have been to mankind whatever deity mankind wants, and Yahweh acknowledges them as deities. Deities in the sense of command, but Yahweh is the El of all Elohim. So people say there's only one Elohim. No, that's not true. There's many different Elohim in the sense command. But Yahweh is the El of all of them. He's the one that has created the heavens and the earth. See, that's different. But man, these fallen know that mankind has a desire to worship. And when you read, and mankind is, what's the word? What's the Hebrew word? I can't think of the word.
Not Adam.
Over in Genesis chapter 1, mankind is
Adam, or Nephish. No.
Let's think. Well, when you look at the word in Genesis chapter 1 about the word asah for make, right? Let us make man, right? when you look at that, that goes back to, let me see.
26, Genesis 1:26.
Yeah, give me one. Yeah, look at 126. Yeah, like it says in Elohim Leila Asa, it's like to indicate that man is weak-willed. That he's weak-willed.
Enosh?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Enosh. Yeah. That's because I was just,
one of those weeks we talked
looking
about
at that.
Enosh. Yeah, remember we was talking about that one of those weeks. Enosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, weak, and what's the word? Well, not word, but mankind is not only weak, but also they're so we're so able to not just fall into illness, but to fall into sin, fall into
right. So the Enosh, right, and then the word Asa there for make, the indication there is that
Are you saying this?
Huh?
Are you saying this there in Hebrew?
Yeah, they're gonna be in there.
Oh, I see it I see Adam.
Look at verse 26.
Yeah.
The word there for make is Aleph, Sheen, Hey, Asa.
You said mate?
Make.
M-A-K-E.
Oh, Nasa. 62:13.
Mm-hmm. So the indication when you look at the word, what you get from the word is like Yahweh had to encourage himself to make man. Like he had to talk himself into it. Like that type of thing.
Got you. And it's a shame for men to eat chocolate, you know what I'm saying? Familiar.
Want to do it?
All right.
Exactly.
But I mean, all jokes aside, man, it really is a copulation of things, man. You just really have to actually believe this thing, Yaakov, man. You got to really believe this thing. This can't be something that you're just doing because Christianity was wrong and you learned some knowledge and you've had some experiences, man. You got to actually look yourself in the mirror and be honest. Do I believe this? I'm talking about, don't worry about disappointing nobody else because you're going to be lost. Satan hates, and that when we're honest with ourselves, that's Satan's first, like, we shouldn't do that. Because we got to be like, do you believe? Or do you still have a lot of questions and concerns? Because if you're there, that's a different place. And those demons that come back and look for waterless places, see, Ma'im, that waterless place that you have inside of you is areas you have not allowed the word of Yahweh. The word of Yahweh represents the water. It's like when Moshe hit the rock, and the 70 elders went ahead of him, and the water traveled through. That is the indication that you have waterless places in you, places that you have not allowed the word of Yahweh to consume and nurture you.
The desert.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So,
desert in us. Yeah.
You can't, if you have those things, that's where your struggle comes from. You trying to hit it at the top. That's the root. Mm-hmm. That's why I say it's always dangerous.
What about being anxious? Like just too anxious about everything and it makes you weary. Can that be a possibility?
Yeah, you mean you have anxiety issues?
Well, just anxious to be married, anxious to I guess to actually hear from the Most High rather than just read. Or
but you're never gonna hear from the Most High. I'm telling you what, Yahweh didn't make that like that. You have to understand that's Christian ways of thinking. You have to understand that Yahweh didn't. I'm glad you said that. Let's make this very clear, right? I want you to be super clear about this because this is a demonic way of thinking. That Yahweh talks to everybody. Does the president talk to everybody? Does the governor talk to everybody? what high-ranking authority in the world goes down and talks to Tyrone in his kingdom? You know what I'm saying? Where's that happen at? That is a Christian way of thinking, which allows the Shadim to come in and be a voice to you. The Lord done told me. The Lord spoke to me in my heart. Well, God told me. That type of talking, Yahweh is a king. He doesn't talk to everybody, meaning the relationship that you're looking to have, Yahweh has rank, authority, order. Because if Yahweh just spoke to everybody, then there is no need for leadership. There will be no respect for leadership. There'll be no respect for order. He said, he says, I speak to Moshe, Miriam, and Aaron in visions and dreams. But I speak to Moshe, Panay, I believe it is, face to face. So the issue is that, so Yahweh, even amongst his prophets, he don't talk to them all the same way. So you got to understand what Yahweh is never going to do, as he never going to do this. Yahweh is not going to keep talking to you without leadership. Let's just show me that in the scriptures. Yahweh is not going to just build this relationship with Yaakov where he just keeps answering Yaakov, because if he just keeps doing that, then why do you need an elder? Why do you need leader? Why do you need a prophet? Yahweh don't do that. If Yahweh's talking to you, he's going to lead you to leadership. He's going to lead you to organization, organism. Yahweh don't do that. The one I read about, I don't see that. Yahweh is always going to deal. If he's called you to be a prophet, then he would deal with you. But then at some point, now you have to be prophet over somebody. What good is a prophet by himself? You know what I'm saying? Even Eliab wanted to be more than just himself. So Yahweh will deal with you maybe in a vision. He may deal with you in some areas on small levels. But as far as the relationship that you're talking about, Yahweh is not going to give you a wife and not an elder.
Right.
Then when y'all get sick, who praying over you? You know what I'm saying? Yahweh not going to give you a business and not baptism. Who baptizes you? You know what I'm saying? Yahweh don't work backwards like that. Yahweh is about kahal. He's about Ada. That's what he's always. Yahweh, the first thing he did was created a kahal for him. He said he created seraphim, cherubim. He created a tabernacle where he could be, and things were. Yahweh has an assembly. Yahweh is not alone. So the issue is that, so anybody that tells me that Yahweh deals with them, the first thing I want to know is, so where you worship, or who do you, because what Satan tries to make you believe is that you don't need a place of worship.
Right.
See, Satan is a fallen spirit. He's a free spirit. That's the spirit that's spoken of today. The Shadim, they are free spirits. So they're no longer a part of the authority of where heaven is, right? So they teach you, just be a free spirit, or God is everywhere, and they teach you this to and fro, up and down mindset. Yahweh is about leadership. If a brother sins against you, take another brother. Then take him before the guys on YouTube.
And I've seen people do that.
Take him before the two Negroes that get together in your house. No, he said take him before the assembly. You know what I'm saying? That he may be okay. So Yahweh is about assembly. That's what he's about. He is not about individuality. He's not about that. I don't see a Yahweh without an assembly. When he created the animals, he created an assembly, packs of animals. Everything is about assembly. So how you gonna have a wife, a productive business, good health without an assembly? So much so that he doesn't even leave the prayer of the sick on you. You've been immersed, right? You full of the Holy Spirit, right? Why is it that you need somebody to pray for you? Why you need the elders to pray for you? He ain't say Mother Smith. He ain't say, nothing, that you can pray over yourself. He left it over you, telling you you got to go to the assembly. Yahweh allowed our backs to need to be scratched, and we can't even reach it because we need each other. You need somebody to scratch your back.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. So the issue is that I don't. When I study and when I see it, somebody can always prove me wrong. I don't see how a person can have a personal relationship with the Almighty separate from the assembly. I just never see it in the scripture.
So, are there real biblical prophets today?
I don't. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. The prophets don't die. But what else? Like, when you say prophets, what do you mean?
Somebody tried to call in.
Huh?
Somebody tried to call in. 575. Is that Donnie?
Yep.
I don't know how to get him in here.
Let me see. Sorry about that, Cartier.
No problem. I remember.
How do we do this? Wait, who had the?
Because I always thought that the prophets ended at the Messiah, really.
No, Yahweh always has prophets. The Cain definitely is a prophet for sure. I mean, when you see prophet,
like when they prophesy the word.
A prophet is an inspired preacher.
Right.
When you think of prophet, are you talking about somebody that can tell the future?
Right, exactly.
Surely,
almost
yeah.
Okay.
I know one personally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, he's still trying to call in, but got you.
Yahoo phone. How do we get him in here? Is there a what do you call it?
Have to add him in.
Wait, because for some reason mine doesn't have. Let me see. Show settings. Microphone. Blah.
That's interesting.
I don't see anything in here for me to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I don't see it on my end either. Might just have to make a whole group, another group thing, and got to add his number in there. Or
reset group.
Good or bad?
Yeah, right.
Or both.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh man. Yep, we was discussing lust.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so quite a few things came out of that. Rather, the beginning of lust.
No, that's the other one I read all the time. My bad, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, move to
Call
your
of Jewish law.
Yeah, there you go. Call of Jewish law.
Yeah, so through that I read all of the commandments and so forth. I'll go to whatever the law says about something. I'll go whatever the tradition and match how close it is to that whatsoever. And then I go into my
history of mankind.
So then I look at different cultures to try to see what steps that would be taken in that process. Like we're the law of Yahweh. That's how I find Israel. Just seeing the remnants of the culture and the other history of the culture, just where Yahweh moved them and whatsoever. So that's the process I take.
Well, what happened? Quick question to the culture. Whatever happened to? Because I know the law of nations is the book of the law over the European nations. What was the one that bridged the? Because there was one before the law of nations that it's not just that it governed like darker peoples, but it was overall. Well, it was like right under Torah as far as significance of the law.
Law, right. Well, of course, you had the law of nations. You had the League of Nations. But remember, with Great Britain, that's where the whole thing came with Brit. The word Brit means covenant.
Covenant, yeah.
Like Brit Milah.
You
know what I'm saying? The covenant people. So there was the Kilish Brit whatsoever, which was the law that was right under the law of nations that sort of kind of governed, everybody. And the law of nations Then, of course, we have the League of Nations now, that whole thing coming out now with old NATO that governs everybody. So I'm just always trying to figure out where the Hebrew law was to try to see where they traveled at. So that History of Mankind that I had by Will Durant, it's like it goes into like you just see the remnants, and even where Israel may not be there, but they affected those people. Those people were affected by them, So when I go into the Hebrew text, I just sort of kind of look for just those words and just like the Brits and just different cultures of people and see where Yahweh's law kind of was. But I didn't mean to interrupt the thing. I just wanted to show you that. But anyway.
No, you're good.
Wait, what was the name of that book again?
This one here. This one is the History of Mankind. It's 2 volumes to it.
The Ancient World.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I've read this like 3 times already. It's 2 volumes. It's so direct into the origin of it. The scholarship. This one is the first. This one was.
Wait, does it have a kind of a red cover or blue cover with the red? There's a sun on it. It looks like.
Well, this one, no. It might be another. They're different. This is by Harper and Row, and the first copyright of this one was 1965.
So it's not by Hendrik Van Loon.
No, this is by Harper and Row. It's a 2-volume set. Some books I have are out of print, so you may not be able just to find it online. I get it out of print. So it's something the oldest I possibly can get. Harper and Row.
What websites y'all go to get those?
Huh?
What websites y'all go to get the ancient?
I'm 40 years old. I didn't go to no website. I got this one in 1999. I didn't go to no website. I bought the books. I had to go order from overseas and go old school way. Some stuff you can't get anymore.
Yeah.
Some stuff is
or
just
they overpriced. Yeah.
I paid thousands of dollars of books over the years.
I don't see that one. Oh well.
Because it's out of print, so I could try to find it for you. Because certain ones I tried. They may have only made certain copies or so forth, but
right.
This is History of Mankind, volume The Ancient World. Like I said, some things are not just. I know people think everything's online. Everything's not online. Some things are just. I got them so long ago. Right. They try to weed out good scholarship. So sometimes it's kind of hard to find good scholarship. So
that I know. There are books that I'm still looking for that I haven't found, and it's like, wait a minute.
But yes,
it's the library, but
send them over to me. I might be able to find them. I have the guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Which ones they are?
Yeah, there are things that certain pubs that I'm looking for that.
Donnie, I know you had an elevator inside your room.
An elevator? yeah, that's what it is.
Hey, woo.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, an elevator.
Yeah, that one.
The Complete Word Study Dictionary, Old Testament. Okay.
No, that's good. Wait a minute, that's not the one you were planning on sending my way, is it?
Yeah, this one I'm going to send to you once it comes to me. Yeah, that's one of them.
Okay.
Yep.
I love that. Them any things about words and roots and stuff. Wait a minute, Donnie's known me longer than almost anybody except my own folk. We were just together last night and talking like, do you realize that we met when we were 23 years old?
Wow.
That was
Where was y'all at the strip club?
He just turned 53 the other day.
You're telling your business now.
Right.
I know. I'm like just putting it all out there.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but
Yeah, just add my social security number too.
Good one.
That's all right. That's all right.
no, but this brother's been around me since, man. Actually, he was one of the first people I met that's outside of my not very first, but one of the first few people that I met that's outside my family that's still in my life. After I got back out of the military.
That's
wow,
good.
man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been that long. I'm like, wow. But it's
a friend sticking closer than a brother.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
But I think the main thing I was trying to conclude about lust it really just is a mindset, as it is with anything else. You just have to at some point wake up and be a man and not do things of a boy. I mean, it's about a maturity level, and it's about standing in your calling. I'll never forget in the movie The Ten Commandments whatsoever, when Charlton Heston, when I was a young boy, I didn't understand this, but in the movie, when he leaves Egypt, he's about to be married in the Ten Commandments. And when he comes back, he's much older now, but the woman that he was going to marry is there. And she runs up to him and says, Moses, you left me years ago, blah, 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 you left me whatsoever. And she's explaining to her, because at that time period, he was supposed to be the next Pharaoh. And he says words to her that I will never forget as long as I'm alive, because those words helped me to control myself even before I knew I was a Hebrew. He says to her, woman, you no longer have any light in my eyes. I mean, that's a serious, because you got to figure out, he leaves Egypt. He goes with Jethro and Ruel and his family. He becomes a sheep herder. He, marries his wife. He sees the burning bush. He now has his calling. So the desires that he had for her aren't the same anymore. When you say no light. So like I said to you earlier, you cannot get rid of the demons you like playing with. You can't invite those demons to dinner and then tell them to get out when you're done with them. It's like your demons are your side chick. Like you get in the bed with your demon, you screw them, and then put them out. And the demon's like, well, you called me over. It's like, you're the one that you call. It's like you got to stop playing with them. They're not, because at some point, like when you playing with a side chick, she gonna burn your car and she gonna do all that stuff. These demons will destroy you because they don't like to be played with either.
Yeah, I ain't got no matches. Fire by myself.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So you have to just be honest with yourself about what it is that you want. Either you want Yahweh, you want this way of life, or you don't. And you are going to struggle, and as Revelation says, that you're going to be lukewarm your whole walk. Your whole walk to the day you die, you'll be lukewarm if you don't at some point give over to Yahweh your weaknesses. It's just that simple. You just got to be honest with yourself. Like, I don't want this, Right. Yahweh, this is my problem, and you got to replace it with something. You got to do, once you get rid of a sin, you got to replace it with righteousness, study, prayer, relationship, and you have to do those things. It's like the gym. You don't have to like praying. You don't have to like studying, but it builds your spiritual muscles.
Wow.
I hear that.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful.
You want to add something to that?
No, what? Well, the only thing I can say is, if you want it to die, then you don't feed it.
Mm-hmm.
Quit feeding your spirit man all that unrighteousness. You know, and the thing is, Satan knows what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, you have to resist that. And it's so true what he said. You know, you can't continue to play with the demons that you trying to get rid of.
Wow.
You know, I mean, lukewarm, it won't get you into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's going to spew you out of his mouth. And, you know, so I totally agree. Now, how hard is it? It's only as hard as you make it. You know, I mean, if you really want to be delivered, if you really want to be set free, it's already there. You know, the Bible tells us to ask, and it shall be given.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is, don't ask if that's not what you really want. You know, I mean, some folks, they ask for it this week, and then they go right back to it the next week, exactly. And then it's like a vicious cycle over and over again. You know, so yeah, so exactly, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about with lust, though, you know, it's more than just you know, because you did this one thing, because really where all the good stuff takes place is in the renewing of our minds. Once our minds are renewed, we don't. I mean, you know, you don't, because where's that? Is that in James? Says that what lust brings forth sin, and sin brings forth death. Mm-hmm. You know,
Jacob, yeah, chapter 3.
Yeah, you know, we have to be really clear about what it is that we believe, and I mean, and I don't mean just trying to convince yourself either. Just, but you know, but you know, just like you're saying earlier, Catriel, you know, you being completely honest with yourself, saying, look, this, you know, what do you want, or like I like to call it, taking inventory. Mm-hmm. So you take inventory. You know, you count all of the, like, you know, what you know, you count inventory, and you prioritize, and like, look, what is it that I don't want? What is it in my life right now that I need to get rid of, because I've already set my goal. My goal is to be in Yahweh's presence forever. So what do I need to get rid of in order to achieve that? And you know, we have to, you know. And thing is, as the problem is with too many of us, you know, we think things are you know, are gonna just magically happen. Like this ain't Lucky Charms, man. You ain't, you know, you ain't gonna be riding around here in a carrot, sucking on a lollipop, and you know, no. You have to put forth some effort. You have to, you know, the effort that you put forth is rewarded by your faith, because he's faithful who promised. You know, we have to make up in our minds that that's what we want more than anything else. You know, it's him. Ain't got time for this, all the other malarkey, all the other stuff that causes us to how does the scripture put it, that the sin that does so easily beset us.
Yeah, that scripture been on my mind this week too.
Yeah, that's that one always pops in my head when I hear about it or see it, or you know, or feel it coming on. It's like, ooh, wait, I gotta remember, you can't let that, you know, You know, but yeah, it's a good thing that His word. Psalms 119 says that your word is a light unto my feet, a lamp unto my path. I need it. I need that because I really don't know what's out here on the path. I know what's out there, but I don't know which one is the one that's the the one that can beset me at that particular moment. So
I think it has a lot to do with too. Is just understanding your position as an Adam, as a man, and your relationship with Yahweh, and where you fall in creation amongst the seraphim, the cherubim, the melachim, the watchers, where man falls, right? And I think what you got to understand, probably more than anything, is your position, as Shaul says, that we will judge angels. So once you understand your authority over these beings, you have to ask yourself, why do these beings have authority over you? Do me a favor, look at Isaiah 14, verse 16. Look at Isaiah 14, 16.
This phone has not been charged all day.
Start at verse 12. Actually, start at verse 12. And we will go to 16. 16 will be the later hammer.
Okay.
Isaiah.
Yep. 14.
14. Start at verse 12. Take it slow.
Says, how have you fallen from heaven, O day star, son of the morning? How have you been cut down to the ground, that laid low the nations? And you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of El. And I will sit upon the mount of congregation in the utmost parts of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the utmost parts of the pit.
Now, verse 16.
They that see you shall gaze at you. They shall consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that shook kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and overthrew the cities of it, that did not let loose his prisoners to their home? All the kings of the nations, all of them, sleep in glory, every one in his own house.
So the indication in verse 16, the language there, the Hebraic language there, indicates you have to get the picture. They're not saying there, is this the man, in a direct context.
Judging.
The conversation is like, is this the guy? This is the guy. This being here. When they see that Shaitan, because you're talking about now the mindset of seeing what this being is, like this little imp. Like the indication there is like to say, this is the guy. This is the one that did all of this to the world. Whatsoever that Satan he's not going to be as impressive of a being when you take a look at him to give him the glory that people are giving him. That we have authority over these beings. And Joshua, you don't necessarily see the term shadim or demons quite often in the Tanakh. That's more of a New Testament type thing, right? But when you do see it, you see Joshua having this authority over them. And once you really understand your position, you don't argue. you don't have the same struggle. It's like your position as a husband. You know, for the life of me, in my personal opinion, since we're all men are talking, Yahweh made the woman the weaker vessel. I don't argue with a weaker vessel. I don't argue with my children. I don't argue if a wise man and a fool are having a debate and somebody walks by, who's the wise man?
Right.
So I think the success I have is because I have I don't, while I respect Shaitan and what he's done, I am over him. I have an authority over him. So there's nothing he can convince me of. I look at Shaitan the same way I look at the relationship of marriage. That Yahweh has made me the head. I'm not arguing. What I have said is what's being said. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to understand it. You ain't got to agree with it. So I think the position you have to take is know who you are. Shaitan, he has he has a day coming. Him, the false prophet, the anti-Messiah, they will be thrown into Gehenna. Their end is written. You still can write your end. They are the great influencers. That's what they do. So I just don't see him as that impressive. So he doesn't, there's nothing about him that makes me go, oh, well, I want to do what he tells me to do. Or I want to be influenced by him. Or, while any weakness I have is because of the weak will or the evil inclination that exists in me.
Right.
There's not anything that Shaitan can do. See, I'm honest with myself. What Flip Wilson used to say, the devil made me do it, that's a bunch of crap. I don't believe in that. I believe the devil is an influencer, but I'm long been done with him. As David or David says, there's no good thing in me. Shaul said the same thing. There's no good thing in me. That's how in the millennial period, after Shaitan, after he is bound for 1,000 years, why evil can still go on. Because evil is in man.
It's in man, yes.
It's in us. It's in our DNA. So the issue is that once you realize that Satan has no power over you, that you will judge angels, know who you are, walk in your calling, and when you get weak, don't blame it on nothing but yourself. You're weak. And you know why you're weak? Because you want to be weak. You want to be weak because you have a misunderstanding of grace. Grace is not going to save you. Every single time you sin, you are building an account with Yahweh. Yahweh's mercy isn't Christian mercy. Yahweh's grace isn't Christian grace. Understand that mindset dwells deep in a lot of us. Because there's no evil, there's no judgment happening right away. Like I said to you earlier, every time you sin, you spiritually die. You're just dying. Just like when you do right, you die daily. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you do evil, there's a spiritual death to you. And there's change you put on yourself that only the good word of Yahweh can do. You have to realize, being a man, I think we had the conversation last week, the number one conversation talked about in the Bible is the kingdom of Yahweh. The number two thing talked about is sacrifice. And number three is love. I just put in there, you can do 1, 2, 3. Those are the three major topics in the scriptures. Here's what I'm saying. The kingdom of Yahweh, sacrifice, and love. Of course,
it's
the name
12 o'clock.
And that's what it really boils down to. You sin, Yaakov, like everybody else does, because you want to. It's really, you're not struggling. You're not, in Romans chapter 11, was it Romans chapter 12, it says that we have not struggled unto blood. See, Joshua, when Joshua was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he struggled and was sweating blood. You know what I'm saying? So until you resist sin, until you sweating blood, you haven't resisted sin yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Joshua, he began to die in the garden. So it really boils down to just be honest with yourself. I love Yahweh, but I love sin. I just love sin. I just really love it. And then we can start, the healing process can start. There's no fight. I'm struggling. I'm going through. You ain't going through nothing. You think about sin. You think about sin. There's a part of you that knows to not do it, and about 15 minutes later, you sin. It's really just that simple. You're not struggling, and don't go 2 days without doing it. Then you pat yourself on your back. Then you know what I'm saying? I did good. Then next week you do it for a whole week. Off of the 2 days you didn't do it because you said I did good the last week. That's a game. You either are for Yahweh or you're not. Because you have to, you either want sin, no matter what it is, or you don't. It really is just that simple. I mean, for me, I think that's where I've been able to be somewhat successful because I don't play games. I'm honest about where my weaknesses are, where my strengths are. I know what I need. I can't survive without the assembly. While I don't believe in astrology, I understand the origin of where astrology comes from. It actually goes back to something with Jacob and his 12 sons. But there's things with, so there is some truth to it. The truth that is in astrology actually goes back to Jacob and the 12 tribes. So that's why there can be some truths in it, but it's been infiltrated by demonic things. So when people say, well, I am that. That's because there's a certain prophetic thing that's over astrology, but the Shadim have corrupted it. There's a corruption with it. So the reason I'm saying that is because I'm a Scorpio. So a Scorpio, we're naturally physical. We're bearing. We love sexuality. There's a thing about us that if I didn't have Yahweh's spirit, I'd be out here thotting. I mean, it just really wouldn't be. It would just be that. There would be nothing to stop me. I am well spoken. I see women as a prize. Like I can talk this woman into anything because I speak well. That's where Satan's. Well, let me take that back. I'm told I speak well. You know what I'm saying? So that gift, I like using that. Like I can talk a woman into anything. I see a woman as a challenge. The more educated she is, the more off limits, the more I seek her out to say, I'm gonna bring her low. You know what I'm saying? So that's a spirit that's in me that has to be controlled. They say, what you mean a spirit that's in you, Brother Catrell? Yeah, it's in me. You don't get rid of that. I'm not that holy roller. Oh, well, I ain't the same man. I'm the same exact man I was before I met Yahweh. My demons are behind cages. They ain't gone nowhere. They ain't out of me whatsoever. And I don't want them to go nowhere. I want them to be right where I can see them. Right where I can see them. I want to know exactly where they are, right where I can see them. So the issue is that I understand where Yahweh's is, where my weaknesses are, where my strengths are. Okay, Yahweh, this is who I am. Change me. Change me. Help me. Remember I said when I first came to the knowledge of the truth, I asked Yahweh two things. I said, Yahweh, I never want to be deceived. Please give me your truth because when I first came into the Hebrew faith, I saw that, some groups do this, some groups do that. I was like, I stand Christianity for all this. So I said, Yahweh, if you're going to do this with me, I need to, what is your name? What is your Sabbath? I need this purely right now. I wasn't going to stand for being in the rat race of doctrinal confusion. So that's why I am the way I am now, because Yahweh blessed me with that. So this is what it is. And then the other thing I asked him was, well, if I'm going to do this, you're going to have to control my penis, right? Because I'm 22 years old. So, you know what I'm saying? Like what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? So that's a real conversation I had with him. Like, so you want me to serve you in this new way? My family turning against me, all this stuff. So I need those two things under control. So I think that's where the
relationship.
You just relationship comes. You just I started the relationship off good. You know what I'm saying? Real good. Y'all, you may not believe what I call him. You may not believe in how I do it. But I know for me, when I asked him that, like, remember when Yahweh asked Solomon, what you want? And Solomon said, well, I want to be able to lead your people. I didn't know that verse back then, but Yahweh made me to know that was the nature of what I asked him. Like, I wasn't looking for knowledge, Yahweh. What is your name? I don't want to just know it through no book. Remember I asked, remember the whole thing with Elder Meyer. Remember the thing with the radio? So I asked Yahweh, what was his name, right? So remember I said I was at my grandmother's house, whatsoever. I'm 17 years old. So I said, Yahweh, so I've been at Enoch Pratt Library and I'm studying. So I'm saying, Yahweh, if you're not God or Lord, like, I want to know, how do I know your name? So like I told you, Tony, before, I was studying, just going through the roots and the words. So I said, Yahweh, I'm a fool for you. I'm a fool. I actually believe that you can talk to me like you talk to the men in the scriptures. Right. I believe that thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with my whole heart, I believe that thing. Like, Yahweh, what makes me any different, right? I said, Yahweh, can you please, if Yahweh is your name, can you somehow show that to me in a miraculous way? Some way to show that to me, right? So I left that alone. 3 days later, my grandmother and my grandfather, they go to Germany, and the house I got married at. And they go to Germany, and I'm house sitting for them. So at that time period, I was dating this girl, and I don't know how old I am. I used to listen to this radio station called The Love Zone in Baltimore with Lolo. And me and the girl, you know how you talk to a girl on the phone to, you sleep? No, you sleep? No, you sleep? No, you go to sleep. Right, yeah. No, you hang up, and you just both fall asleep on the phone together, right? So I fall asleep on the phone. This is a Saturday, Friday to Saturday. So I'm talking to her on the phone with them. I'm just coming to the faith, right? Learning Yahweh's name, right? I say Yahweh, so what? So the phone hangs up whatsoever. So I wake up enough to hang the phone up before cell phones, right? So I go to sleep on the radio stations on 92Q, right? So the next morning when I wake up, nobody's in the house. And remember what I asked Yahweh, right? So I wake up to this sound, and it still says chills through my body. It goes, da, 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 da. Hello, I am Elder Jacob O'Meyer from the Assemblies of Yahweh in Bethel, Pennsylvania. Bringing to you the sacred name of Yahweh and his blessed son, Yahshua the Messiah. So I get up out my bed, I'm going to the radio. I'm like, now the radio is on, as a 17-year-old, you don't turn your station to AM. It's always on FM. So it's on AM 1400. Now, I didn't turn that radio to AM 1400. I didn't know nothing about AM. The only radio station I knew on AM was Heaven 600. That's the only radio station I knew on AM. So that was, so it was made immediately to remember in my mind, like, you asked Yahweh to do something, you know what I'm saying? So from that day on, nothing. It's not a thing, a scholar. I mean, I can listen to a person, they can make absolute sense. I'm like, brother, that makes absolute sense. Yeah, Yahuwah. Now, thank Yahweh. There's literally nothing that can take me away from that, because I asked Yahweh beyond scholarship to show me. So he established and I think because of my heart. Remember now that's what he did with Yahweh, and then the same thing with Yahshua. And maybe about 4 months later, I asked him about how to pronounce Yahshua's name, whether I'm saying this correctly, right? So I'm in Enoch Pratt Library, whatsoever. So at that time period, I didn't know whether it was Yahushua or Yahshua, right? Because that whole thing with the boss. So I'm like, okay, so Yahweh, I don't know help me understand this, right? This is building the relationship with them. And the relationship came because I only wanted sound doctrine. So I remember I don't know if it was a dream or a vision. So I'm in the Enoch Pratt Library, and I'm looking at Yahshua's name, Tony, right? So I'm looking at Yod, Hey, Wav, Shin, Ayin, right? So now what I got confused about, because when I went over to Yahshua, the book of Yahshua, looking at the Hebrew text, there would be times where Yahshua's name was Yod, Hey, Wav, Shin, Ayin, wall. There was another wall there. You know what I'm saying? Like these double walls. Like, so I'm saying, is it this? Like, so Yahweh, I need you again. Like, how to help me to understand this, right?
Right.
So same thing. Whatever. I have a vision or a dream. I don't know what the heck it is, whatever. But I'm looking at. I have the yard in my hand, Tony. Right. So I go, yo, hey, and then when I get to the wall, right, something comes over my lips and does. So I go, Yah, and then something puts a finger over my lips and goes, like when I get to the wall, I'm not to say, like to say, so I go, Yah, Yah, oh, okay, Yah, sure. You know what I'm saying? It really is just that simple, right? Like the thing that put every time I went to go Yahoo, it put its finger over my lips, like to say it's silent. You know what I'm saying? Like don't say it. Like Yah, every time I tried to go say it, it said shh. So, but the shush was not only a shush over my mouth, the shush was the shin. Yah, Yahshua. So I mean, so that relationship is there. You just have to, when you said you wanted, early in the conversation, you said you wanted Yahweh to speak to you. But it's only going to be after you, I think we use it all the time, brothers, when, in the Christian church, they say, Yahweh, have your way. But do you really want Yahweh to have his way? Because when Yahweh has his way, it ain't never your way. It ain't never what you want. Yahweh told Abraham, Yahweh let Abraham have his way. And having his way with Abraham, Abraham had to leave his family, travel to a foreign land. You know what I'm saying? Every time Yahweh has his way, he's uprooting, he's changing, he's adjusting, sometimes changing your name, changing where you are. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave your family. So do you really want Yahweh to have his way? Or do you want Yahweh to have his way in what you're comfortable with?
Right. Yeah, that's what it. That is what it boils down to. Because I mean, there have been so many changes in my life till it's almost ridiculous. I mean, starting out as a teenager. Well, I graduated from high school a little bit early, so I was out, but by the time I was 17, and then the next thing, well, I shouldn't say next thing I know, but soon after that, I'm going into the military. Then I'm like, man, I don't want to go overseas. I wound up in Germany. It's one thing after the other. But after I got to Germany, it just things seemed to change a little bit. It was like he said, because I was coming to little did I know, I was preparing to come to the Christian faith at that point. And, he started letting me see things. Well, then we went to Nigeria. We took a trip, temporary duty to Nigeria to, we were there to do some sorties, military talk. While I was there, I met a guy. He had on, he had to change his clothes to come to work and everything, but I found out that he was Igbo. And I was like, Igbo? And, we met and we conversed a little bit, and he actually told me that that we're related to them, to the Igbo. The people who were taken in the Atlantic slave trade were their direct relatives. I was like, wow, really? And I got to see some of their congregation and in their their village there, and they followed the commandments. To me, that was mind blowing. Like, what? Y'all really follow the commandments for real? Okay. And this was before I really got even into the Christian faith. So then I go into the Christian faith. It went, but it was that was always something that was stuck in the back of my mind, that there are people on earth who actually follow His commandments like that. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, but that's impossible to do, man, because the law of Yahweh is a burden, and nobody can keep His commandments. I mean, that's ridiculous. We need grace in Christ. Like, we can't do His law. Right.
Right. And but then that thing never left me. It was always, what's that old expression? It was always something that was stuck in my craw. I never got rid of it. It's there.
Was it a bug?
Why it's there, but it's there. And eventually, after about 20 years, he started pulling me on out. Mm-hmm. He pulled me out of the Christian thing, and not to tell nobody's business, but it might have been a little bit to my brother here's chagrin, Donnie, but and then I guess one day he comes over here and he's like, what is this you talking about, man? I found myself being like, it's almost like what's the old song? Since he came into my life, what a wonderful change has come over me. I looked at my hands and they looked new. Looked at my feet and they did too. It's just like a complete transformation. And now I haven't eaten pork in a number of years now. Found out that not only did not only was I being obedient, but also kind of contributed to my strength as far as working out. It changed like overnight. It's like I stopped eating and within a few weeks my bench press jumped from like 400 to almost 600.
Right, and not to interrupt you, but I think that one of the major problems is that when you get specifically with the diet, it helps all those things. But what I try to do now in my life is when I'm telling somebody about what Yahweh wants us to eat and not eat, I try to attest it to the animal kingdom. Right. I try to attest it to like what makes us think as human beings that we just get to eat what we want to eat. Nothing Yahweh created eats what it wants to eat. Every single thing that Yahweh created has a diet. A giraffe can't wake up one day and be like, hey, you know what? I want me a slice of turkey. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh created every single thing with a diet, with laws, with rules, with a governing standard. So human beings, how much more would He create us with a diet, with a way of life, with how to dress, how to eat, how to talk? Because I tell people all the time, Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 1. Look at Deuteronomy 14:1 real quick. Because this is what the dietary law is really about.
It says,
Wait for everybody to get there. Deuteronomy 14:1.
Yep.
Well, 14 verse 2. 1 and 2.
Yeah. 1 and 2, okay.
Well, 1 or 2, but both.
Yeah.
you want
Peter, No.
It says, "You are the children of Yahweh."
So that's the first thing. So you are the children of Yahweh. You're children. You got a daddy. Okay? So the first thing you got to understand, if you are a father in a house, can your children eat what they want to eat? Can your children dress how they want to dress? Can your children talk how they want to talk? When you are a father in a home, you have laws and rules to your home. How many brothers in this Zoom call have children or have overseen children? And how many of y'all children can just walk out of the house, dress how they want to dress? How many of your children can just go in the refrigerator, eat what they want to eat in there? How many of them can talk how they want to talk in your house? So the first thing is, we are the adults of Israel. No, we're the children of Israel.
Right.
No matter how old we get, we are Yeladim. We are the Yeladim.
It's actually Benin.
Benin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm saying, so Yeladim is what group? A group of children? Yalad, right?
Yeah, that means this basically means offspring, but yeah.
Okay. Right. Because I know that's where we get the word lad
on
from.
the sons in that.
Okay. Right. So we are. Thank you, brother. So I confuse.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I use the word the like offspring. So we are the children of Israel. That's the first thing. Keep going.
Yeah.
You are the children of Yahweh, your Elohim. You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For you are a holy people to Yahweh, your Elohim. And Yahweh has chosen you to be a people for his own possession, above all peoples that are on the face of the earth. You shall not eat any abominable thing.
Now pause. Verse 2, it makes it very clear, right? This is why Yahweh is so serious about what we eat. Because it's very interesting that he starts off the baldness in the eye. Like, we get into that later, like why he starts that off with that right there. But he talks about holiness. We're holy. The dietary law is not about diet. It's about deity. It's about holiness. It ain't about what's good, what tastes good.
Right.
In the Garden of Eden, when Yahweh gave mankind a diet, it was about being set apart. It has nothing to do with whether shrimp got protein in it and it's good for you. You know what I'm saying? When Eve saw the tree on the fruit on the tree, she said that she saw it was what? Latov, good for food. It was good. It tastes good. And it also gave her knowledge. Just like the shrimp tastes good. And it also gives you protein. But it don't make you holy. It's still not good. So the fruit that Eve ate, it was good, and it gave her some nurturing. It gave her knowledge. So every time somebody say, well, why would he want us not to eat? Because he's saying they try to give you this things that are in pork or things that are in food. Well, in oysters, there's actually things good for your eyes. Also, in the fruit that Eve ate, it was things good for knowledge for her. But it don't mean that's good for you. You know what I'm saying? So the fruit that Eve ate made her quite intelligent. And it did a lot of good things for her. That's why we can do surgery and build buildings and all the things we can do is because of what was in that fruit. Now tell me how that's working out for us. Tell me how that's working out for us nowadays. All the good that was in that fruit. So when you stand in front of the Almighty and he throws you in the Gehenna, tell me how good that shrimp was and tell him about all the protein that was in it, how good it did for your cataracts, how good it did for your back problems. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't care about diet. He cares about holiness. That's what separates us. That's what separates us from us. So that's why he says above all the peoples that are on the earth. So Yahweh is not for everybody that's on the earth. It's about people that will come under that line of kadosh, holiness. So Yahweh says set apart. This is what goes on here. This is what I'm saying. This is how I set my people apart. This is what people do. You cannot eat this. Not because it's not going to taste good or it ain't things good in it. Because now this is what you're going to do different than the nations. This same reason he gave circumcision. The reason he gave circumcision as a set-apart symbol. So other nations circumcise, but do other nations circumcise on the eighth day?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So Yahweh's always given separation commandments to show us different than all the peoples. Why he wants us to have our beards. Why he wants the women to cover. Why we have the Sabbath. All these things are separation commandments. So all of us as a whole, as a nation, Yahweh can say, that's my people. Those are, see, again, when you have a child, your child, you can look at the child. While the child has a difference, there are certain features that the child has like you. Yahweh's commandments are things on our face of Israel, the Sabbath and the Sabbath and the dietary laws. As soon as somebody hears Sabbath and dietary laws, they immediately say, oh, you look like an Israelite. Is Yahweh your daddy? That's your daddy? Because there's certain laws that make us up of an Israelite. So Yahweh is made up of his law, and we look like him. That's what makes, the commandments make us look like him. And when the commandments make us look like him, then you look like your daddy. So the law, that's what the law is about. It's about features of Yahweh. Because he is law. He is the very epitome of law. So when somebody talks to you about the diet, don't ever try to debate diet with them. Like, oh, it's good for you. You know, it's Yahweh's. There's certain things about beef that isn't good for you. Is it? So you don't. That's a trap you want to get in. You'll get into. It's about holiness, separation, different than the nations. When you start getting into, well, this is good for you, whether it's good for you or not, meaning to the flesh, is not what's going to give you eternal life. Because you can find good stuff in pork. You can find good stuff in shrimp. You can find good stuff in oysters that's good for the human body. But Yahweh don't care about that. It's about the nature of holiness. The reason Yahweh chose us, all the birds we can eat are flocking animals. Because Yahweh wants us to be an assembly. You know what I'm saying? He wants us to be a group of people. All the mammals we can eat, they're cattle. Because he wants us to be an assembly, a group of people whatsoever. Even I was just recently studying, I asked Yahweh about maybe about 3 weeks ago, about the insects. I was like, Yahweh, I hope there comes a day, never comes a day where I got to eat none of these insects that you can say we can eat. Like, what is it about these daggone insects? Yeah, but interestingly, the reason that he wants us to eat those hopping animals is mind blowing, but it's real simple. Whenever you go get a grasshopper, right? You can be over a grasshopper. You can be right there, and you just think you got it, and as soon as you right there, it can be taken out of the way. But that is the nature of Yahweh's people. Whenever the enemy thinks he's right there with us, Yahweh translates us right away. He can move us right away, no matter what it is. So literally everything Yahweh wants us to eat is telling us something about us or what he can do for us. At some point, the enemy can be right there, and at some point, we will be translated away in the resurrection. Just as quickly as we're there, just as quickly as we go. And that's what we literally learned the resurrection from those animals. I'm like, Yahweh, like, what are you even saying? Like, they can be right there, and then they're gone. And then they're one other place. You're right there, and then they're gone. Same thing he did with Philip or Phaliel. You know what I'm saying? He was moved and translated. Enoch's translated. What we learn from the hopping animals that he wants us to eat is how that we can be stable and the enemy can be right there and just as close as he wants, and boom, we can be somewhere else just like that. Yahweh can move us wherever we want. So it's about what we're to learn about these animals. These animals that we eat are to tell us something about ourselves. So
yeah.
So everybody eat all those abominable things. It's all, and that's what they are, abominable, because they live an abominable life. That's really what it is.
Anybody ever, consequently, has anyone ever heard of a shrimp bed?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have. Remind me what it is.
It's back in the day, before we had all of these chemicals to clean the ocean and everything, when ocean liners sailed, and if one of them spilled over and all the oil spilled out, into the ocean.
Uh-huh.
You drop you get these shrimp. Basically what they are is what are known as detritus feeders, which means they eat garbage, and so you could get several million of these things and dump them right on the oil spill, and they'll eat the whole thing right out of the ocean.
Yep, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I was like, that's crazy, really? That's why Yahweh don't want us to eat that stuff.
Right.
He wants us to touch them.
Look at when you get a chance. Look at Matthew chapter 13, read verse 47 and 48. And to go, this is just another verse to prove that Yahshua even understood the clean and unclean. Matthew 13, 47 to 48. He actually gives an example that the kingdom of Yahweh is like this.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into the vessels, but cast the bad away.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Yeah,
So shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Right, so Yahshua understood clean and unclean, because he said that they would go into the ocean and they would get the things that are the good and the bad. That's the clean and unclean. Whatsoever. So when the fishermen would go, they, of course, when you cast a net, you're getting all types of crab, shrimp, and you're getting everything in there. But you knew to separate the two, separate what was good and what was bad, and so forth. Then he, of course, explains it as the kingdom of heaven will be done the same way. But Yahshua understood that in the net there was good and bad. Everything in the ocean is not for food whatsoever. At this time period, you're not talking about tires and he's talking about the food, the things that are in the net that are not good for food. The Israelites will bring up that are good for food, because everything that you catch in the net isn't good for food. You got to separate what the kosher fish is and what the kosher fish are not. So.
Yeah. Are you serious? My thing went all the way back.
And I think that the issue is that your relationship with Yahweh is based upon your commandment keeping. If you're not keeping the commandments of Yahweh, that's how I know when I meet a person. When I first meet a person and I'm having a conversation with them and they're talking and they indicate that they have this relationship with the Almighty. First of all, there's certain things I can see about them visually looking at them, like whether they have this biblical relationship. Now they may have a relationship with a spirit, but there are certain things that, remember, Yahweh says holiness. That's why Yahweh gave us certain symbols to look for on our bodies, the beard and the tzitzis and of course, circumcision. And there's a certain way a believer talks. You know what I'm saying? We talk a certain way. They're not only the physical things, but there's a certain way they talk. Jacob says, John says, look at 1 John chapter 1. He says a little bit better. This is how you know. So this is the litmus test whenever I'm talking to a person, whether they actually have this relationship with Yahweh in which they think they have, or say they have to me. So that's how I judge it, and how I would want somebody to judge me. 1 John chapter 2.
Chapter 1? Or
1 John chapter 1. 1 John chapter 2, start at verse 1. 1 to 3. 1 to 4.
Okay. My little children, these things I write to you that you may not sin.
So it's possible not to sin, for sure. Because he ain't going to say that you may not. It ain't possible.
And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, and Yahshua the Messiah, the righteous. and he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the whole world. And by this we know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. He that says, I know him, and keeps not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
So that's just basically the litmus. You know, anybody that says they have a relationship with the Almighty, I don't care whether they can prophesy, talk. I ain't looking for nothing. I don't care whether they got a collar on. I'm looking for commandments. If you're not keeping Yahweh's commandments, then that's the litmus we look for. That's what we judge all of us. Anybody, because he says anybody that says that they know him and don't, because there's going to be lots of people that say they know him. You know what I'm saying? So John says this, when you're talking to him, this is what you look for. So he says, and by this we know that we know him, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments, and later on John says his commandments are not grievous to us. He that says that I know him and keeps not his commandments is a liar. You know what I'm saying? So that's the marker that we always have to keep. We look for that the obedience to Yahweh's law. The consistent obedience to Yahweh's law, that is the marker. Not whether they speak in tongues, not whether they got a prophetic spirit, not whether they full of knowledge, not whether they've been in the, I mean, that literally is what you're looking for. I mean, because people are going to sound really good, really philosophical. I mean, I really enjoy listening to Minister Farrakhan. I think Minister Farrakhan is one of the most historical black men that I've ever met in my life. I respect him as a scholar and his historian. He don't know the Almighty. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, any of these men, that's why he says there's going to be, he don't want you to be fooled by that, because we can be led away by that. So the marker is the law. Because if you don't know that's the marker, you would assume those people have relationships. You know what I'm saying? As great as Malcolm X was, as great as, name any great Christian minister, name any great Jewish rabbi. Now I'm saying, now understanding the law. Now I want to be very clear about something. It's the law, but it's also this. This is a part of the law. Go to 3 John and start reading at verse. So it's not just the law. So go to 2 John and start reading at verse 7. Start reading at verse 6. 2 John, start reading at verse 6. This is also part of the law. Because you would say, well, all Jews know the Almighty. No, they don't.
And this is love, that we should walk after his commandments.
So all Christians that say they walk by love, and love, it's about love. Love is keeping his commandments. Keep going.
This is the commandment, even as you heard from the beginning.
This is going back to Adam, actually. Keep on.
That you should walk in it. For many deceivers are gone forth into the world. They that confess not that Yahshua the Messiah comes in the flesh. This is the deceiver and the anti-Messiah. Look to yourselves, that you lose not the things that we have worked, but that you receive a full reward. Whoever goes onward and lives not in the teaching of the Messiah has not Yahweh. He that remains in the teaching, the same has both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to you and brings not this teaching, receive him not into your house, and give him no greeting. For he that gives him greeting partakes in his evil works. Having many things to write to you.
Well, that's fine right there. So the obedience is not just the law, because if anybody comes to you with just Yahweh's law and not bringing to Yahshua the Messiah, they also ain't got the Almighty. So those are the two markers: the keeping of the commandments and that Yahshua is the Son of Yahweh. And those are the markers. Without those two things, the person is just religious. They're knowledgeable, or they have a lot of good things they know, but to be called of Yahweh, if they come confessing that Yahshua doesn't come in the flesh, and they're not obedient to the Torah, Revelations chapter 12, verse 17. Read it. Revelations 12, 17.
And the dragon became exceedingly angry with the woman, and went away to make war with the remnant of her seed, that keep the commandments of Yahweh, and hold the testimony of Yahshua.
Read it one more time.
And the dragon became exceedingly angry.
Hey, Tony, get Revelations 14, 12.
Keep
reading, Jericho.
With the woman, and went away to make war with the remnant of her seed, that keep the commandments of Yahweh, and hold the testimony of Yahshua.
So the dragon went to make war with the woman and the remnant of her seed, those that keep the commandments and testify of Yahshua. Another marker. So I want to be a part of the group of people that the dragon is a part of. Now, what's 14:12 say, Tony?
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahshua. And I heard a voice from heaven saying,
that's fine. 14:12 is fine. So why is it the patience of the saints? Why is keeping the commandments and testifying of Yahshua the patience of the saints? Because we live in a world where everybody's either keeping the commandments or they believe in Yahshua. In Judaism, they believe in keeping the commandments, but they don't believe in the death, burial, resurrection of Yahshua. In Islam, they believe in a certain lawful life, but don't believe in the death, burial, resurrection of Yahshua. There's only one group of people on this planet that believe in keeping the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. That's Messianic Hebrews. So it's patience, because everybody's either saying, you ain't got to keep the law, we under grace. Or people saying, you got to keep the law, we don't believe in Yahshua. Very few people on this planet mesh the two together. So we got to be patient. Because we don't mix in any, we're not a part of any group. When we start talking about Yahshua, people say, are you a Christian? No, I'm not a Christian. And we start talking about the law, people start saying, are you a Jew? Yeah, but not like the Jews. People say our beards and stuff. Are you a Muslim? No, I'm not a Muslim. See how we don't fit nowhere? We look a little bit like everybody, but we don't fit nowhere, because that's the patience of the saints. We're the only ones proclaiming Torah and Joshua, not one more than the other. We're not shading more towards grace or more towards the law. We're saying the letter of the law and the spirit of the law work together. They've always been working that way. Grace ain't nothing new. The sacrificial system is grace. The soul that sins, Tony, what? The soul that sins, it shall die. So we've been under grace for a long time, since Adam. You know what I'm saying? So grace ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how, now it being all on one man, that's something new. But the sacrificial system was grace.
Right.
Moshe tried to give us grace when he said, I'll die for Israel, showing at some point a man would die for all Israel. You see what I'm saying? So the issue is that Yahweh would, because Moses represented the law, and him dying for Israel, Yahweh would never want the law to die. The law can't die. No, Moses, you can't. You're going to represent the law throughout history. I can't let you die. Right. What would that say if I let the law die? Right. You see what I'm saying? So the issue is that, because remember now, all throughout history, Tony, we sit in Moses' seat. Moses' seat represents the law. You know what I'm saying? So the issue is that the picture of Israel is meshing the Torah and the Brit Kadashah together. Satan has been doing everything he can to separate the two. Old and New Testament. And then other books. No, they are one. The commandments of Yahweh and the testifying of Yahshua. They are together. You know what I'm saying? He said he went to war with the woman. Who's the woman? Who's the woman in Revelations? Look at Isaiah chapter 66. It'll tell you who this woman is. That the dragon went to war with this woman. Who's this woman? That's giving birth to something. Isaiah 66. Look at verse. Remember the scripture. Isaiah 66. Start at verse verse 7. Remember, it said the dragon went to make war with the woman and the remnant of her seed. He wants to kill this woman and this baby that's in her. So what's this woman? Who this woman that Satan, the anti-Messiah, wants to destroy, wants to shut her up? Isaiah 66 started verse 7, 7 to 9.
It says, before she travailed,
pregnant,
she brought forth, before her pain came.
Remember, she's pregnant now in 12.
She was delivered of a man-child.
That's the man-child. Now, in Revelation chapter 12, most commentaries will try to tell you this woman is Mary and the man-child is Christ and so forth. Let's find out who this man-child really is.
Nope.
Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall a land be born in one day?
And this wasn't Israel's independence in 1947.
Nope.
Shall a nation be brought forth at once?
Mm-hmm.
For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Woman is Zion.
The children is you. The children is us. We are the children. The woman is religion. The woman is Israel. She, on her head, she has the 12 stars.
12
That's
stars.
Israel. Her back is to the sun. That's Christianity. And she stands on the moon. That's Islam. She stands, Deuteronomy chapter 12, Tony, the sun, moon, and the stars. Don't be dismayed at them. Right. All the religions that she's pregnant with paganism. She's Jezebel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Israel has become Jezebel. And the dogs, the Gentiles, are attacking. So she doesn't know what to do. See, she's been living, Israel has been living with the Star of David and the cross and Sunday worship and moon worship. She's adorned herself in paganism. But was Isaiah chapter 14 say, Tony? She still wants to be called by his name. She still wants to be called by his name. She still wants the authority of Hashem. She wants to do her own thing, but she still wants to be called Israel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She wants to keep her own commandments. And I want to be called by his name, but I want to do my own thing. Right. So now she's being called out. And the dragon's attacking her. Like Jezebel's being attacked. She don't know what to do. She has to turn back to Yahweh. But she's gotten pregnant. You know how she got pregnant? She got pregnant when the truth came into the church. When the truth came into the mosque. In Israel, Ezekiel chapter 37 started happening. The valley of dry bones start waking up. Satan he's going crazy because the church is waking up. The mosques are waking up. Everybody's waking up to being Israel. So now paganism is pregnant. And she's giving birth. Every time you left the church, a baby popped out of the paganism. Every time somebody leaves the mosque for the church, a baby comes out. Satan is ticked because the truth, he's worked so hard to keep her in chains. Now the truth is getting there. Knowledge is increasing, as Daniel said, and she's waking up to what it is. He's got to kill her. Because we're waking people up to the sacred name, to the Sabbath, to what we're supposed to be, so he has to destroy us. But shall a nation be born at once? So Israel is awakening, and he has to shut her up. So that's why Psalms 83, he sends all those Palestinian nations to attack and to the name of Israel be no more, to cut her name off. You know what I'm saying? So the issue is that that's us. Every time we awaken somebody to the truth, to what Yahweh's name is, to what the Sabbath is, to what the law, to the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua, to what day he really, every time we get astute in truth, Satan becomes ticked off because he has the world a Lord in the sun, a Lord in paganism, and the holidays. They're very kumbaya. Let's all get together under one God, and it don't matter what you worship, and we all climbing the same mountain, and we all doing the same thing. That whole ridiculous mindset. You know what I'm saying? But the people of Yahweh, we're saying no. Yahweh is to be worshipped this way. How do you know? They say Satan is that's his mindset. He's a free spirit. He's fallen, so he's no longer under authority. That concept of free spirit comes from him. The Shadim, the fallen, they are now free spirits into Taurus. They are there making you think you can, well, just think how you want, man. Be a free thinker, man. I don't want to be a free thinker. I want to be a lawful thinker. I don't want to be a free thinker. Do you know what goes on in this crazy head up here? You know what I'm saying? If I was a free thinker, if I could think and do what I want to do, I want my thoughts to be brought under the subjection of the Messiah, under the subjection of the law. Because if I was a free thinker, the things I could convince, myself to do.
Right. And it's then somebody like me, I'm a warrior.
And Catriel, get your hand out my pocket.
I'm a warrior type. My thing is to destroy everything that's in the way that's I'm trying to keep me or my people from advancing to where we need to be. I mean, I got that from being in the military, but then I also got it from being part of a military family. My father fought in Vietnam. My granddad fought in World War II. I'm a third generation warrior. We used to we used to the war. We used to fighting. Mm-hmm. Whether right. It's from a physical perspective or from or the law or physical. I mean, I used to have a dojo. So mm-hmm. fighting, I've always kind of known. So, but I'm exactly the same way, Catriel. Lord knows.
Now you have a black belt in biblical self-defense.
Exactly. That's really the only one that counts. And
I try my best, man. Listen, I when it comes to the word of Yahweh, I talk a whole lot, so I like to know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So right. I try to take the word of Yahweh seriously. He will be like fire in your mouth instead of like Isaiah with the coal and Shia with coal on your tongue, standing in the gap. I want to stand in the gap. I want to be a voice for him. Right. But you got to know what you're talking about, because there's as Timothy says, in the last days many shall fall away from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. What is a seducing spirit, though? Seducing indicates something that is in front of you that looks good.
Right.
It's alluring, but it looks good to the eye. It sounds good, but it's moving in such a way where it's hypnotizing you. Whatsoever. Hypnotism. Yeah, hypnotism. So that it's seducing you, drawing you in whatsoever by winds of doctrine. And the reason that the people of Yahweh are able to be deceived is because our study habits are so poor. We rather listen to Woman Thou Art Loose and Our Daily Breads and read commentaries and so forth instead of getting to the word. You see what I'm saying? I'm on my, I can't even tell you how many times I've read the Bible from beginning to end, and just backwards and forwards, making sure I want to know Yahweh's. I want a relationship with Him through His Word, through His Spirit, through His law. So when I go to a commentary, I can say, "Oh no, he don't know what he's talking about. He don't know what he's talking about. He doing like this, like a roller coaster. He doing good, then yeah. It's like no. So we rely too much on that because for some reason, like I said, the Bible is the only book that I've experienced, and I read a lot. That as soon as you start reading it, you can sit yourself down, keep yourself going. Say, I'm gonna study for an hour. You're like what? Like, you can be watching a movie, you can read a book on cars, and you just into it. As soon as you get to the word, and the flocks of the valleys of Achor, placed by the herd to lie there. It's like you start gnawing. It's like a spirit of slumber comes upon you when you get like try studying the bar. I do 2 to 3 hours a day, but that's over the years because I have a method. But just try studying the word of Yahweh straight for an hour. without nodding, or some sense of something distracting you or moving away. It's like nothing distracts you from anything else. Right. That's how I know the authority of this book. Because why such power? Why does that even happen? So.
Right. Yeah. Anyone who says anything bad about the Bible, generally, have you all noticed, or is it just me? Notice that those are people that generally do not read, don't even read magazines.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
How you got a commentary on something that you've never read?
Right. Right.
And that's
she say. What I like to do, it's called stump the biblical scholar. Like, you'll get these certain people, they'll say stuff like, "Hey, can the Almighty create a boulder that He can't move? Can the Almighty create a boulder?" Like, they want to stump you. Like, they want to create things like, well, did David number the people, or did Satan number the people? They look for these types of things, these contradictory verses in the scriptures that they want to sort of debate you, what I like to call barbershop biblical conversation.
Right.
Like the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? They want to start some knowledge debate about something.
Right.
Now they fornicating, addicted to internet porn, cussing, lying, but they know a man, what I'm saying, the Bible was written by man. Like, get your life together, brother, before you start telling me something about what the scriptures say about something, So
right. Yeah, those people. There's a saying I kind of say about a lot of those folk. It's like, I only. Now you heard me say it once already, Cartel. I only debate with my equals. Everybody else I teach.
Right, absolutely,
Yeah. I'm like, come on. If you've never read anything, how do you think you would last in an argument with someone who's been studied for 25 or more years?
Right. Even if I'm wrong, you can't tell me that.
Right.
You ain't gonna be able to tell me that whatsoever, because there's a certain lifestyle that you have to be living. I'm not saying I can't learn something from someone that doesn't know a lot.
Right.
But if you're gonna come to me to teach me something, Yahweh's gonna bring you in humility, not argumentatively, because I already know that's gonna be turned off.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People like I.
Not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all those curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall thou be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall be when thou comest in, and cursed shall be when thou goest out.
Read verse 20.
Verse 20, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all thy setteth thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and unto thou perish quickly.
Now that vexation has a lot to do with confusion. That leads in a lot of confusion, right? So it's a lot. So I want you to see that Yahweh told Israel, his Israelite, what would happen in their future if they kept His law, and what would happen in their future if they didn't. So there's a lot to read here. So I'm gonna try to flip you to the key points, right? Okay. So you've seen the curses, but the key thing you see was about keeping the commandments, right?
Right.
So if you go over to verse 36.
36. The Lord
This is
shall
all
bring.
what happened. These are all still the curses now.
Okay, the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt eat over thou, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
So Yahweh said he's going to bring us to a nation which none of us ever knew. No, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We'll come later. We'll come back to this track in our next study. That is America. That we've come to a nation which nobody in our Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob never knew. So, and we're going to serve gods of wood and stone. That's the cross. That's wooden idols. The stone, any type of stone worship whatsoever. So I want to try to flip you through this as fast as I can. So go to verse 49.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So this chapter is talking about the transatlantic slave trade. When the Europeans came over with their fierce features, a tongue in which we did not understand. They did not regard the old or the young whatsoever. They took us into slavery, which solidifies that is the last verse I want you to read is verse 68.
68.
That's the very last verse.
Oh, okay. All right. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way, whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So the no man shall buy you actually goes back to Leviticus 25, verse 47. And according to the law of Yahweh, when you were a slave, after a certain amount of time, your brother could buy you back from slavery after a certain time period. So this clearly is not talking about nobody would buy you. People bought this all the time. But when you know Yahweh's law, this no man shall buy you goes back to when your brother, after a certain amount of years, you were a bondservant, could, if he was an Israelite, could buy you back. So this taking you into Egypt again, remember, we only were in Egypt at one time. This Egypt is a metaphorical of another 400 years of slavery, and that we were taken over on ships by those people, tongues that we couldn't understand, of fierce features. They did not regard the old or the young. They sold us, took our children. They brought the curses upon us, took our field, everything we needed in the field. This chapter is talking about the transatlantic slave trade. What would happen to the Israelites if we walked away? So your question was, why did Yahweh allow us for so long to stay in paganism before the Hebrew way? This is why. Because Daddy told us 4,000 years ago what would happen to us. We would lose our mind. We would become like dumb dogs because we walked away from the Torah. We walked away from the law. So we're in America now. What's happening now is a prophecy of what Moses told us at his death. So he said, if you do right, blessed are you. So I'm going to give you an example, right? Look at the white Jew. Look at the white Jew. The white Jew, blessed they are in the field. Blessed they are in law. Blessed they are in medicine. Now, do the white Jew believe that burial resurrection of Jesus Christ? No, they don't. Do the white Jew believe in the law? Does the European Jew believe in, do they fully Yahweh's Holy Spirit? No. Simply because they keep some form of Yahweh's law. Surely they have a lot of traditions involved. But because they are trying to be obedient to the Sabbath, look at the wealth. Look at the movement. Look at how stable it is. Now, us as Christians, full of the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, stay divorced. Can't have no land. Can't do that. Now, we got Christ, speaking in tongues, shouting, don't own a thing. The European Jew, all he does is the law, and look how successful Piper and Piper are. Look how successful the law is. Now, this is the law without Joshua. This is the law without any of that. So they just step right into their obedience of that. All they do is just picking up the law.
And I want to.
And they have this. So you have an actual group of people in the world where you can say, wait a minute, okay, so if the law of Yahweh is grievous and Yahweh's not about the law, why is it that the European Jew who don't believe in the Messiah, who don't have the Holy Spirit, why is it all they do is keep the law? We know they have added traditions, but let's just go with the basic laws that they keep. Look how successful they are with just the laws. Just the laws. Now look at Aryan groups, Aryan nations, or white supremacist groups. White supremacist groups also hate Jews, correct? They hate Jews, but Jews are the same color as them. You know what I'm saying? So what is it? So what is it about the Jew? What is it about the Jew that they hate? It's the obedience to the black man's laws, his commandments. So that's what I'm saying to you. That you say, why did Yahweh wait so long? He didn't. He been wanting us to be obedient to the law. He been wanting us to be obedient to his practice, but we just sort of kind of walked away from it.
And I'm sorry. I wanted to add Isaiah 24, 5 through 6 in there. I can read it. It says, the earth also is polluted under the inhabitants of it, because they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell in it are found guilty. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So again, transgression of the laws, and we're cursed because of it, like Deuteronomy 28 mentioned as well.
It just goes back to the law. That's the one thing I want you to keep in your head, that always, if somebody says to you, brother, that, well, this negative stuff about the law, just always think about the Jews that are living on this planet. Like when people say the law of Yahweh is a burden and we're not under the law and there was no need for the law and the law, all this negative stuff about the law, right? But you actually have a group of people on this planet that attempt to live by the law, and look at the success of their lives just by keeping the law. So the law can't be as bad as what people are saying, because you have people who literally are absent of Yahshua the Messiah, are absent of the actual internal Ruach HaKodesh, but yet still have a success just by the base formula, MCE equals squared. They just walk by that. You know what I'm saying? And they're just because they step in those lawful shoes, it's like the man that has the Midas touch. Everything you touch, when you got the Midas turn to gold, that type of thing. So here's so in the church you'll hear all this stuff about, quote unquote, the negativity against the law, that the law wasn't, and the law couldn't do this, what the law couldn't do, grace could do with the law. But yet the law still, you have people on this planet who keep Yahweh's law that have a sense of success. But yet the people that are under this grace and under this, quote unquote, grace mindset, that they don't, what do we have? You know what I'm saying? What do we have? So the issue is that, and that's because we are Israel, and those curses are on us, and the only way we can get out of those curses is to return back to Yahweh. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then shall I heal the land. But that wicked ways is generalized. Wicked ways is not wearing open-toe shoes in the church and playing cards and going to the club. See, that wicked ways is generalized. No, the wicked ways is turned away from Yahweh's Torah law. So once we do that, Yahweh will do what he said. but you just got to know if you ask a person, well, what's the wicked ways? Everybody will have like, oh well, you can't play cards. Make sure you turn your TV off on Sunday. Make sure you go to church. No, it is the wicked. The wickedness is the disobedience to Yahweh's law. Shabbat shalom, Murray.
Shabbat shalom, Murray.
All right. I definitely thank you